Indian Minister for External Affairs Jaishankar is in China, wants to revive trade with China, wants to have peace with China. Friends, I'm Raja Faisal and I will be highlighting in this video the Jaishankar trip to China and whom he met and what he did. First of all, this trip is very important, reason being it is taking place right after May 2025 war, in which of course we have been listening to many statements coming out from India in which they have been claiming that though Pakistan was at war with India, but behind Pakistan it was China. Now you all know the statements which were coming from Indian side. Of course, when we talk about Lieutenant General Rahul Singh, who happens to be Deputy Chief of Indian military, what he said was very important in this context, that he said we were not facing only Pakistan as an individual adversary of India. We were facing two, actually four, three. This is what the statement was, in which he was claiming that it was China behind Pakistan and China's all of the fighter jets were Chinese, and when we talk about the weaponry, it was the Chinese, and China was intentionally giving all of them weaponries to Pakistan to cause 1,000 cuts to India so that India can bleed. And these kind of statements are not very old. It was just a couple of weeks ago they were highlighting, and everyone was condemning from the Indian government side that China was behind it and China caused pain to India. Now, in this particular visit of Jaishankar, who happens to be External Minister for India, in Beijing, he met with his counterpart and discussed many issues related to trade and security between both of the countries. But in the presses, they did not mention anything about Pakistan. It was more to do with bilateral tensions between China and India in Eastern Ladakh, and then we talk about Arunachal Pradesh. We already know that Arunachal Pradesh is a place that is claimed by China. China believes that it is part of Tibet, and Tibet already is part of China. So they have been demanding from India that Arunachal Pradesh actually belongs to them and it should be given up by India. So in total, when we talk about Eastern Ladakh, 38,000 square kilometer of Eastern Ladakh, China claims that it is in their hands and it is part of China. When we talk about Arunachal Pradesh, 89,000 square kilometer of Arunachal Pradesh, China believes that it belongs to them and India can't do anything about it. Now, in this particular visit, which is taking place after so long, what we have been seeing is Jaishankar is planting a pomegranate tree in there and then talking about all trade. Well, when we talk about trade between both of the countries, China and India, it is around $130 billion worth of bilateral trade between both of them. But when it comes to China exporting to India, that is around $115 billion, and rest of the 15 billion is actually which they are importing from India. So though it is a bilateral trade, but it is more pivotal to China because they are exporting $115 billion worth of trade to India. But that trade, that export which China does to India is very, very important for India. Now we all know that Jaishankar was complaining in there that there are blockages in terms of trade between both of the countries. Them blockages should not be there and there should be a smooth bilateral trade between both. In this visit, Jaishankar also met with President Xi and highlighted many options and many other things about bilateral relations between both of the countries. I'm pretty much sure he must have highlighted the security aspect right on the top of it, reason being the kind of quagmire they have just come out of in May 2025. They have learned lots of lessons, and them lessons, of course, they must have been discussing them lessons with the Chinese counterpart as well as President Xi too. Now, in this whole scenario, one thing is very important. The kind of statements which were coming from Modi, which were coming from Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, all of them, even Jaishankar as well, they have been highlighting this aspect that if it was Pakistan, only Pakistan fighting with India, then it would have been easier for India to cope with Pakistan. But as they claim that China was behind Pakistan, then how on earth they can go on this trip while talking all of these statements, giving all of these statements against China few days back, and now being there and trying to pose as if everything is hunky-dory? This is something which I think India should be ashamed of. Especially when we know that even in the SCO, the defense ministers, when they were sitting together, India desperately wanted all of them to include Pahalgam attack as a terrorist attack and originating from Pakistan and Pakistan supporting terrorism. They wanted this to be in the joint statement from everyone must sign it. They did not do it because everyone asked for the proofs and India hadn't had the proofs. And when it comes to India trying to get same statement to all of the forums they were part of and not finding any signatures on that, I think this was the huge embarrassment for India. And right after that, knowing the facts and knowing their mistakes, now they are sitting in Beijing and seeking trade and seeking calm and seeking peace with China. Here there is another important aspect which I want to highlight is that India has a strategy, and that strategy is whenever you have an adversary whom you can fight, always fight with them. Like Pakistan, they will never sit with Pakistan on the negotiation table. Rather, they will be finding ways to fight with Pakistan. But when it comes to a country like China, where they know they can't fight at all, they will always keep on going for sitting on the table to resolve. Reason being, China has the bigger muscle when it comes to military. They have the mightiest muscle in the region and they don't want to pose a fight against them. That's why we saw in Eastern Ladakh, be it Arunachal Pradesh, they are open for talks. And again, for 18 times, they went to Beijing, they wanted to have talks. And in the Chinese side, they've been sending their external minister, their army officials, their spokesperson from the army. And then when we talk about the 16th Corps commander of 16th Corps was there as well, 14th Corps was there as well. In all of these talks by civil and military, both leadership, all they were seeking from China is that they wanted to have peace. And guess what happened? China, on their own terms, they said, these are the terms, sign it, and we are all okay with it. But if you want to impose your own terms on us, go back, and we don't want that kind of talks in which you are bringing your own resolve to the problems. And in them 18 talks, India was literally begging for peace. And they got it from the Chinese side on the Chinese terms, not the Indian terms. And when they came back to their own country, they started shouting out loud that the peace has been resolved, the territorial differences between China and India has been resolved, and now we are going to be peaceful to each other. And the kind of pact both of the countries they were having since 1975 on actual control, line of actual control, that would be revived, in which they had pledged, both of the countries, they had pledged that they will never be using weapons against each other. That's why we saw back in 2020 when Galwan took place, Galwan Durgatna took place, we remember that rather than guns, they were using the sticks. They were using all of the other means to fight each other. And we all know Colonel Babu, he lost his life alongside 20 more soldiers of India. They lost their lives. But when it comes to China, China gave them a befitting reply. The old Pangong Lake, where we saw that the end of Three Idiots movie was picturized in there, that is in the hands of China now. if India ever wanted to make another sequel of Three Idiots, they will be getting a visa from China to go and picturize it there again. So this is the state of affairs of India when it comes to its external matters with other countries. Countries like China, the powerful countries, they will always be leaning forward and accepting whatever they are saying. But when it comes to Pakistan, when it comes to Bangladesh, when it comes to Nepal, Bhutan, Maldives, Myanmar, all of these countries, even Sri Lanka as well, they are very recently they have been having a conflict with them as well. All of these countries, they want to pin them, they want to fight against them, they want, reason being, they are smaller countries. So this paper tiger always wants to fight with a country that hasn't got that kind of muscle to fight. But of course, when it comes towards Pakistan, Pakistan gives them a befitting reply. And even in May 2025, Pakistan gobsmacked them. And after that, they haven't been able to airborne their fighter jets. And they have been crying out loud. And they went to Washington to seek peace, to seek resolve at that time. And when President Donald Trump, when he said that he played the role, then suddenly India started shouting out loud that no, we don't want any third party. Because it is the bilateral matter, we will be fixing it with Pakistan. But at the same time, they should remember that Pakistan wasn't stopping. Pakistan wasn't stopping at all. Pakistan was going all inside this war. Reason being, it was India that initiated it, and the territorial integrity was challenged by India, and Pakistan was simply retaliating against Indian aggression. And when it comes to Donald Trump, he simply said that it was Pakistan who was giving you blows and you were running towards Washington, and that's why I saved you. But India keeps on maintaining that no, we didn't want anyone. It was Pakistan who actually contacted us for ceasefire, and that's why we did the ceasefire. Whereas the reality, everyone knows. For the people's consumption of India, of course, they have been maintaining this narrative. They need to shun that. They need to behave in this region. And if they believe that they can be all okay with China and after that we can do anything to Pakistan, I think this is something they need to really think about it. Reason being, even in May 2025, it was Pakistan who gave them a befitting reply. It was Pakistan who has been bombing them. It was Pakistan who has been shooting their fighter jets, and they couldn't do anything about it. So even if a bigot like Jaishankar goes to China and keeps on maintaining that we want to have good relations, we want to have very good relations with China, we don't want war. At the same time, this is the very bigot Jaishankar who keeps on spewing venom against Muslims, spewing venom against Pakistan, and keeps on pulling the smaller neighbors, the smaller powers in the region. And these kind of people, when they go to China, they go all leaned up and all they talk about is peace, we want peace, we don't want to fight with China. But at the same time, when you come towards Pakistan, that's it. They are showing the muscle, and when they get beaten by Pakistan, they keep on telling lies to the whole world that nothing has happened, and that too after 3 months. One wonders, almost 2.5 months ago, in May 2025, they got bashed by Pakistan. Since then, they didn't say anything about it, and now suddenly they've started saying what kind of war it was. We didn't take any bombs. None of the bombs they hit Indian military installments, and nothing has happened in India. Why they say this now? Because it took them nearly 2 to 3 months to fix whatever the damage was. Friends, that's it for today. Hope you liked this video. Do subscribe the channel for more videos. Take very good care of yourself.